I break, he restored. He don't ever toss the plate. I ain't perfect, I'm
What is
obedient, and
up?
that's why I
Welcome
say
back to the Made of Clay podcast. I'm so glad you're here. We're officially at the end of the year, and I feel like there's this pressure right now. Everyone's hopping on the gram to give you the polished highlight reel of their year. You're hearing about the goals hit, the trips taken, the perfect aesthetic of a year well spent. But if you've been rocking with me for a while, we don't really do the polished highlight reel here. We talk about the clay, we talk about the dirt, we talk about the crap, we talk about the mess. And although I'm not the best at being vulnerable, I've been working on it and just opening up. And this podcast is kind of about that. So let's dive in. My word for this past year was growth. I've said it before and I will say it again. Asking the Lord for growth is like asking for patience and getting stuck in traffic. And to the point that it's almost comical. I guess better be careful what we pray for, right? His way was not always the way I wanted to go. I struggled mentally, physically, emotionally, grew distant from people that I thought would be in my life forever. I struggled financially. I doubted. I questioned. There were nights I honestly wondered if any of it, the business, content creation, the goals, any of it was worth working towards. I remember this one night in particular, I had volunteered to help at a vacation Bible school at my church, and Phil was out of town, and I can't even remember the details, but I just broke. I was about to head to VBS. It was like night 2 or 3. Like we had already been doing it for a few nights in a row, and I was about to head there, and Phil texted me about something, and it upset me. Like I'm really trying to recall what exactly happened, but I really genuinely cannot think of it. But it was something that just upset me, and then I just kind of started spiraling of I am the worst person. I suck. I am not worthy of any of this. Why do these things keep happening to me while I'm trying to serve the Lord? I feel like this is his plan for me. And this summer I had quite a few of those moments. Another day I remember I opened the underneath the sink. I don't know what that's called, but I opened it and it was all cluttered because I don't know if anybody else's house is like that, but the underneath of the sink is kind of equivalent to that one random drawer in your house that just catches the batteries and the screws and all of the random little gadgets. And so that's kind of how under the sink is for us, and it stresses me out. It drives me nuts. But it's we live in a tiny house, so it's kind of hard to avoid it because it's the car cleaning stuff needs to go under there, the trash bags, the, gloves, the rubber gloves, the soaps, the dishwashing stuff, all of the things. So anyways, I opened it up and it was cluttered, and I go to grab something and it all just kind of falls like volcanoes into this pile. And I just started freaking out, and I stepped back, sat down, and just laid on our kitchen floor. And I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure I had an anxiety attack. And I've never really experienced that, maybe 1 or 2 other times, but not enough to be familiar with it, I guess. And I just started crying and breathing heavy. I couldn't catch my breath. It was the craziest thing. Phil walked in and he was like, "What is wrong with you?" And he handled it great and was super supportive, but it's still kind of embarrassing just to share that. But I guess I say all of this to say is sometimes it's really easy to look at other people on social media or see the trips they're taking. Because that same summer I went to Guatemala and Phil went to Cancun, and we had a good summer, but there were these moments in between that were just draining and grueling, and it was just really hard. But through all of that, it kind of helped me grow, and it helped me understand mental health a lot more, honestly, because I never really had anxiety or depression as a kid or as a high schooler, that some of my friends dealt with, and so I didn't really understand it on that level. And so I appreciated having those experiences so I could better understand what living with those things are like. And through all this, I also had to confront something really uncomfortable about my personality. I realized that there is a massive difference between being loyal and being committed. Because if you know me at all, I'm a super loyal person. If you're in my circle, I will truly go into the fire for you. The whole, would you take a bullet for your friend? I truly believe I would. And I guess somebody could test me on that. I'd prefer not to be shot, but that's really my personality. If you call me any time of day and you need me to be there for you, or being it kids events or sporting events or like all of these things. Like I really try to go above and beyond for the people that I love to just like, that's just my personality. I love people deeply and like I connect pretty quickly. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but commitment, that's where I get exposed. I realized I don't like sticking to one thing for very long, and anybody that knows me will probably laugh and be like, it took you this long? I like doing a lot of stuff. Like it's been said, jack of all, master of none. I literally like tried to write out a list of my hobbies in quotation marks, and it was too much. Photography, hiking, biking, fishing, climbing, weightlifting, disc golf, regular golf, kayaking, paddleboarding, swimming, spearfishing, bow hunting, regular hunting. And I know I'm missing so many, but I get so excited. Oh, pickleball, softball, basketball. I literally could keep going. Board games. Like, I like a lot of stuff, but I really like them. But I also flip hobbies like I'm turning a page in a book. I get bored. I don't like doing the same workout program. I don't like watching the same show. And honestly, that bleeds into all aspects of my life, like personal, professional. When things get hard or mundane or repetitive, I just want to boop to something new. I want the dopamine hit of the fresh start. But this year kind of gave me a reality check. God didn't let me poop. Because I entered into some commitments that I couldn't just walk away from. First, owning my own business. I've owned it longer than a year, but it's kind of, been a continual like journey of not being able to say no or not being able to like throw in the towel and not wanting to. Because like there's a weight of responsibility that where you have to keep pushing forward even when you aren't inspired. And I truly and like genuinely care so much about the business and the people we serve. And second, I entered into the biggest earthly commitment I could make, marriage. And unlike my commitment to Jesus, I married an imperfect person. And just like I am imperfect, I would say he's more perfect than me, but that's neither here nor there. Because when you marry somebody, it forces you to stay in the room when you want to leave. Like there's no throwing in the towel or like beat bopping to a new hobby. I mean, you do life with this person. And in addition, we own a business together. So it forces connection and it forces the hard conversations. And like I said, unlike Jesus, my husband is not perfect, and neither am I. We both fall short daily, and navigating that is a challenge because you don't get to just skedaddle when things get rough. I've had to walk through this season. I've had the privilege of walking through this season of being newly married, building side gig, creating another business, trying to find my footing and grow deeper with Christ. Looking back, this year has truly felt like hiking the tallest mountain I've ever encountered. It's been super hard. There were days I wanted to stop, and some days I did stop. Like, some days the anxiety won. Some days I didn't hit the goals. Some days I slept in. Some days I watched a lot of YouTube. But through it all, I realized that I couldn't turn back because I had already started climbing. And I am not a quitter. I started learning a new revelation. Because you see, I used to think I was self-sufficient. I used to think my works could get me somewhere. That I could do extraordinary things on my own without Christ. But that is a bold-faced lie. Everything I've done this year, everything I've gotten through has truly been because of Him. And I can say that so genuinely. Like, this is not a sponsored podcast. This is not an affiliate link. This is not an ad. He put, and when I say He, I mean Jesus, put people in my path to strengthen me. He gave me Phil, who has taught me what true love looks like. Someone who taught me to get excited about the storms because there's a rainbow on the other side. He has given me burdens that I've had to carry so I understand what they look like on the other side. He has thrown a lot of tests my way, but standing at the end of the year, I feel like I'm at the top of this specific mountain per se. Not there's still a bunch of rain clouds. Don't worry. But I've hit some goals. I've graduated. I've gotten the job. I've gotten married. I did the things I could post about on Instagram. But I realized that the joy wasn't in the achievement and it wasn't in the image. It's from all the little moments. And looking back on this year, I can see how, man, it really sucked to go through this valley, but like I'm on the other side of it and like I understand it now. I realized that true joy comes from the back porch conversations, the late night drives. It comes from the tears. It comes from laying in bed with your husband and just laughing until your stomach hurts because you farted and poofed the blanket up. Like, I'm so dumb. It's. I hope Phil listens to this. But like, truly, it's all the little moments that are just silly. Those are the ones that matter and make me feel closest to living and to Christ. And that brings me to the biggest lesson that I'm taking into next year. I was listening to a conversation recently between John Bellion and Chris Williamson. Shout out again to my wonderful husband who drives on long road trips and picks out good podcasts. And the conversation really unlocked something for me. They talk about this concept of the Midwit Meme. And if you've never seen the meme, just please pause right now and go look at this meme, or I'll try my best to explain it. It's a bell curve. On the far left, you have the dumb person. They say things like, I just like taking pictures, and they're happy. Then in the middle, you have the, in quotation, smart person, the midwit. This person is miserable. They're over-analyzing everything. What's the ROI? Is this efficient? What will people think? And then on the far right, you have the wise person. And guess what they say? I just like taking pictures. The simpleton and the sage have the exact same conclusion. It's the person in the middle, the one trying to be smart, who is suffering. And I realized I have been that midwit so many times. I've smarted myself into being an idiot. I let myself get caught up in trying to sound smart, use big words, or let myself feel intimidated because I'm not naturally good at things. I was a coward because I lost confidence over things that simply don't matter. Chris Williamson calls these unteachable lessons, and he has a really great paragraph on this, but the kind of gist is that he says we ignore the warnings, like money won't make you happier, fame won't fix your self-worth, because we think, yeah, that's true for them, but I'm different. We decide to learn the hard lessons the hard way over and over and over again. And I realized, like, I'm done trying to be different. I'm done trying to be the smart one in the middle of the curve. My goal for the next year is to be dumb again. I want to be large in my awareness of happiness, of my awareness of joy. I want to create just because it feels good to create, not for money or for likes or for fame. I'm just going to be sitting over here in my dumbness doing nothing and enjoying life because the mundane and the dumb are underrated. And John Bellion talks about this in the podcast, but like, just to clarify, being dumb doesn't mean like ignoring your problems or being ignorant to anything. It's just sitting with the uncomfortableness of slowness long enough to like figure out what's up and where you want to go and what things really matter. Get back to the simple things. Go on date nights. Go eat that scoop of ice cream. It's not going to kill you. Go on a walk just to walk, not to hit some goal or to post it on social media. Just get back to what matters. So my word for 2026 is joy. And I can't remember what exactly sparked me choosing this word, but it's just kind of funny how God works, because after choosing this word, I went to San Marcos to see my little cousins in a Christmas play, and you'll never guess what character my little cousin was. Joy. And there were so many other moments throughout December where joy came to be. And obviously Advent, and I listened to a sermon on Advent the same weekend that we were in San Marcos watching my cousins play. And there were just so many times that this word came to light, and it was just like God was confirming that this is the word that I am supposed to hold on to this year. And just kind of to like go back to the beginning of the year, we started out in Acts and walked through it with our pastor. And when the disciples faced persecution, they considered it all joy. And that really stuck with me because they knew God's plan was greater than their simple minds could fathom. And I don't know, just kind of connecting all these dots of like the podcast that I listened to on the Midwit meme and just like getting back to dumb. And then these guys, and I don't think the disciples were dumb by any means on like IQ, but I think that they were dumb enough to just trust him fully. They didn't need to be in control. They didn't need to sound like the smartest kids on the block. They just trusted him and went with it. And I just want to be like that. I don't want to care about some image or what other people think. I want to be dull enough to just trust him fully and not worry about any of it. So if you're listening to this and you feel like you're stuck in the middle of that bell curve, stressing, optimizing, and worrying, well, don't worry. And don't beat yourself up anymore, because I've been there too. The worst thing you can do is continue in this little hamster wheel of this trap of over optimizing and over analyzing your life and everyone else's life. And I still do it sometimes, don't worry. But I'm slowly just trying to get dumber and dumber. So join me on the dumb side. Before we go, I just want to say a quick prayer over you guys in this upcoming year. Dear Lord, thank you so much for all that you have done for us. Thank you for your grace and your mercy and your love and just all the joy that you bring, because we know that joy is a command from you, Lord. That even on the bad days, we can consider it all joy, because we know that your plan is greater than anything we could ever imagine. We know that your son died on the cross and paid the ultimate price for us. Why not consider it all joy, Lord? And dear Lord, just be with us as we go through this upcoming year. You know, January is a lot of reflection, but also fresh starts and getting back into the gym, eating right, and all of these resolutions that so often just fall off. And dear Lord, help us to focus on consistency rather than being perfect. Dear Lord, that we're going to fall off the wagon, but that's okay, because we can hop back on. And just because we miss one workout or eat a bowl of ice cream doesn't mean that our whole year is ruined, dear Lord. And help us to understand that we can spend so much time optimizing and analyzing our lives that we miss the entire point. And so, dear Lord, help us to focus on you and on what matters, dear Lord. Help us not to miss those small moments, those little moments when the people that we love in life do something goofy or play that sport or win that prize or just come to you because they love you. And dear Lord, if we start feeling like that midwit in the middle, give us a reality check, give us a gut check, dear Lord. Help us to remember that we can't do anything extraordinary on our own, that our abilities come from you. And dear Lord, just be with us as we're climbing our own mountains. They're gonna look different, and that's okay. That's the point. And help us to remember that and to just keep climbing and building each other up, and just give us the freedom to find joy in all of it. Amen. Thank you so much for listening to the Made of Clay podcast. If this episode hit home for you, do me one tiny favor. Share it with a friend who might be stuck in the middle of that curve right now. We're walking into the new year with less performance, less facade, and a whole lot more clay. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Low, still chosen, that's a paradox. Power in the weakness, yeah, the treasure locked in a jar of dirt, still heaven sent. Glory don't belong to me, I'm just the evidence. I don't need the spotlight, I've been through the dark. Every crack in the vessel, that light hit my heart.